Welcome. This is a meeting of the Darien Sewer Commission, special meeting, Tuesday, January 20th. We're calling the meeting to order at 4:37 p.m. The meeting is being held virtually as noted on our special meeting agenda, which was posted with the town clerk. And the purpose of the meeting is to discuss and take action on the very latest drafts of the sewer pump ordinance, the cover letter, compliance statement, disconnection statement.
Where are you?
And we are joined also today by one of our town attorneys, Bernie, to answer any specific questions that might be related to these documents. But ultimately, we want to empower Ed to move forward with the RTM approval process, which will start as soon as Monday with a visit to the Board of Selectmen and follow through a number of RTM subcommittees with the hope of ending up with a positive vote at a full RTM meeting on February 23rd. At least that's the schedule that Ed outlined for us. So with that, oh, wait, we got them. They're here.
Reese is trying to get in. He just
he's here. He's in the waiting room. I just admitted him.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
And
thank you, Craig.
You're welcome. You made the cut. We let you in.
Well, we don't have any video of me.
That's all right.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
And CCVW, is that Peter? Peter, can you hear me? Doesn't appear to be muted, but I can't hear him. Peter, we can't hear you or see you. There is an option to call in by phone if you want to try that if you're having trouble with your laptop. So I'm going to take the documents, I guess, in order. So first, oh, he says it's connecting to audio now. Okay. How's that? Peter, can you hear us now? Okay. Let's start with the sump pump ordinance. Everything flows from there. So that's the document flows from there. I didn't even mean that, but thank you for laughing. That's the one with the header Article 13, sump pump removal regulations. And the edits to that are indicated at the bottom of the third page and the fourth page. And we've talked about this a number of times previously, where we will not enter a property without approval of the owner. So that edit has been made, and we're not going to use this new ordinance to further any rights that the superintendent may have to protect public health and disconnect someone solely for the use of the sump pump. So with that, do we have any further comments or questions on the ordinance?
Me.
Okay, Susan's good, Reese is good, Bob? You're on mute if you want to tell us you're good or give us a thumbs up. You are muted, Bob, if you're trying to say anything, just so you know. You do this if you want. Oh yeah, there we go.
Hello.
Yes, got you now.
I actually have a quick comment about whether or not we need the ordinance. In the attorney's statement there, he was saying that we needed this because as opposed to fog, because fog is an activity and this is like a information gathering. Well, my statement to that would be the fact that fog did not arise out of the ashes like a phoenix. At some point in time, there had to be an information gathering for it too. So I believe this runs parallel to fog, not in any other way. I think it's the same thing because we are just following state statutes and we want to enforce them. So it's not like we're rewriting the rules. We're just enforcing the rules.
Is that a question?
No, that was a statement.
Okay. Well, so if we want to use some time now with Bob here, if there are questions for Bob before we finish reviewing this document or go over the others, well, let's do the Q&A session now. That way we'll be a little more informed as we go through things. And I guess, the Bob is noting a conversation that has been ongoing, which is what authority does the Sewer Commission have to act independently in accordance with our current authority and regulations versus what do we need to get changed in either the town ordinance or our own regulations?
Yeah. Craig, do you want me to jump in here?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good time.
All right, great. All right. Again, this is Bobby Burney from Town Council's office. I helped draft up the original version of the sump pump regulations and the companion ordinance. Bob, I think that when it comes to the differences between the sump pump regulations and fog, it is substance in the sense that what are we doing here? Regulating activity versus collecting information. But there's another aspect to it as well that's just as important, and that is what precedent can we rely on here? Almost always, when I do anything for the town in any legal matter, I look and see, what is everybody else doing? What do we have in terms of precedent? What has the state said? Do we have any court rulings here? When it comes to the type of activity that the Sewer Commission's trying to regulate here or to gather information on, we don't have a lot of precedent to rely on. That's the exact opposite of fog. Fog, you have voluminous precedent. You have the state publishing a nice, clean guideline saying, this is how we want to enforce things. We're at, municipalities are authorized to go out there and do the enforcement. And to that extent, even having, a fine system set up, an appeal system set up for people who want to contest the fines that are levied against them under a fog ordinance. We have all of that. That provides A, safety in numbers, and B, a reasonable basis to conclude that if the state believes that municipalities have the authority to A, regulate this activity, and B, fine you for not complying with those regulations, really good basis to if you're in court for any reason, say that you have a solid legal foundation to enforce and to fine the activity you're enforcing. The sump pump compliance statement, what you're doing with it, the information gathering purposes, the unique situation that Darien faces with the excess amount of discharge water. Don't have much to rely on here. We don't have any statute that says the sewer commission is allowed to fine people for this activity. We don't have a clean statute that says you're allowed to send out compliance statements and you're allowed to fine people for it. I think it can be implied from the way that the statutes are set up. Statutes clearly explicitly authorize WPCAs, municipal WPCAs, to create and adopt their own rules and regulations. And inherent in that is the ability to fine people who are not complying with those regulations. But unlike with some of the other assessments and I don't want to use the word fine here because that has a specific meaning, but the statutes do provide the WPCA with explicit authority to levy monetary value, to assess people for certain activity. It does not say you can fine for XYZ activity. It's open-ended. Could you make an argument that the Sewer Commission by itself has the implied authority to A, adopt these regulations, and B, fine people for failure to comply? I think you have a very good argument for the first part. I think you have a not as clear basis for the second part.
But again,
what you do have. Yep,
but again, I will state, how did FOG start? They had to gather information and start somewhere. And that's what we're doing. We're working on activity. We're just at the infancy, and that's information gathering. They had to have done it for the FOG too. So I see a complete parallel.
I think one of the key differences here is that whenever FOG ordinances first started to be adopted, and Darien was certainly not the first town to do that, there certainly was an information gathering phase to that process. Whether that initial information gathering process was done by DEEP or by one specific municipality, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I think more, just as importantly, whomever did it, we don't know, and I would gather that they probably did not have the authority to fine you for not complying with that information gathering process. So again,
the health department with them, and I even had a bigger stick. If I were to guess.
Yeah,
maybe they did, but
yeah, my guess is also
Frank,
that was probably done at least in concert with the health department, because the health department knew who had the kitchens.
And the health department, like any state agency, is going to have broader powers than we have here, just as Darien. I think you've all seen the email that I wrote. I always ask myself, if I were in court having to defend a position, or if I were in court having to attack the position, play devil's advocate, attack the position I'm defending, what would I go after? In this specific instance here, I don't think that there's any question that the activity that the Sewer Commission is trying to regulate here, or the information it's trying to gather, is reasonably related to the maintenance of the sewer system in Darien. I think that's pretty clear cut. If somebody were to ask me what legal basis upon which the Sewer Commission could fine people for not complying with this process, my best argument would be that it is reasonably implied and is necessary based on the circumstances Darien faces. As I said in my email, that is not a terrible argument. You can succeed on that argument. But if I'm challenging this and I can instead say, here is an ordinance, which under state statute says, that the town is allowed to adopt this ordinance, allowed to impose a citation process on it, and levy fines as part of that. Very clear cut. Can't really challenge that process, at least in terms of whether or not you're allowed to do this under the statute. And that requires an ordinance, and an ordinance requires RTM approval. So bottom line is that by having this ordinance adopted, it removes the vagueness of whether or not this can be enforced by a fine for failure to comply.
Good. And the way I summarize that is Bob, your position is not an unreasonable one, and it is not completely indefensible. But we are better protected more clearly with an ordinance in place than without an ordinance in place.
Yes.
I just don't like the idea of it becoming a political potato. You don't know how many people on the RTM have sump pumps and are voting against it because of their personal situation, not for the good of the town. Where I have a sump pump and I'm willing to go through the process for the good of the town because I understand the importance of it as someone who works in the industry and deals with it on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Bob,
will,
Bob, is there any way we could split the atom here a little bit and send a letter out and rather than say shall fine you, just put may fine you or assess you and leave it in either or, that it's either a
Mhm.
fine or an assessment in our first letter so that we can get those letters out. And then if we receive approval from the RTM, it'll be a shall. We'll change the letter to a shall. Is that logical or am I being a little too clever?
No, Reese, I think that's
Well,
a
the
great point to,
idea is
yeah.
Reese is trying to save time instead of waiting
Yes.
the month or two that it might take to get RTM approval. Is there action we can take now and language we could use now that helps protect ourselves?
I think this will hopefully be a very good answer. I don't think there should be anything holding you up at this point from actually starting the process of information gathering. As I said before, the Sewer Commission adopted those regulations, I believe, back in September, the sump pump regulations. You already have the authority to do this. You already have the authority to go out there under those regulations and start collecting that information. I could even say that you have at least an implied basis to fine people if they don't comply. Simply being the Sewer Commission, you don't even need the RTM to be completely certain. I'm sorry, but the other way, you need the RTM approval here to be completely certain that you have the authority to fine. But already you can go out there and do this activity, collect this information, send out these compliance statements right now.
But if we called it a fee rather than a fine, would we be fine?
I don't think that the turn of phrase here is as important as what legal authority you have to collect the fine or the fee.
Yep.
Again, if you did this now and you called me up next week and said you needed to enforce a fine for somebody who didn't reply to you, and I was in a theoretical court, I still think I'd have a basis to go on there and make a case that these fines are enforceable. But the information gathering part of it, you can do that right now. You don't need to wait for the RTM. The Sewer Commission has the authority to go out there and do what is reasonably necessary to protect the sewer system.
Yeah, go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
When we originally spoke about the idea of calling it a fee, Bob, it was you and me and Wayne. The thought was that, yes, we're allowed to levy, assessments to pay for the maintenance and care of the system. But those assessments have to be related in some, semi-concrete way to the cost borne by the system. And the difficulty, as I recall it, that you and Wayne were having was, well, how do you determine that on a case-by-case basis if trying to charge a fee or an assessment for people with sump pumps or just people not responding to a mailer, right? And that's where I recall the discussion of a fee was kind of breaking down because it was hard to marry those two things.
Couldn't we be able to estimate staff time for this process itself and allocate any fees or fines to the process itself, the costs? This is going to cost incredible mailings, staff time, building a database. That's going to have a number to it, Craig. It's not zero.
Well, then we would charge everybody, which we will be doing because we will have costs and we will be charging everybody.
That's the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to say just because someone hasn't answered that there's additional cost to us, or that what if someone has how much is water is going in the system, a small amount, a large amount, how much is that? That was the part that was hard to get a grasp on.
Yep, great answer.
And then I appreciate your line of questioning, and I appreciate wanting to get this done. And I think unfortunately, I have been the one trying to think about the politics of this. And uh, I think sending a letter out without the opportunity to get the ordinance passed is a little bit like, letting the cart leave the barn before the horse. Is that the right way to say it?
Mhm.
And uh, I just think to me, having all branches of government kind of moving forward in lockstep, uh, is just the best, is a better way to do this. Uh, uh, because we're going to get into some sticky situations here, like we've talked about, right? The ends of the bell curve are long and thin, and there's going to be a lot of tricky stuff here that we're going to get into. And I'd like to know that we have solid footing at the outset uh, before we get into all those unknowns. So, obviously, I'm still advocating for a certain position, uh, and um, and I don't think the RTM's first read of this is at all prejudging uh, the need for the ordinance and its efficacy. I think it was just it was put to them kind of quickly in the fall. The subcommittees hadn't had a full time to really evaluate it. And so, we've had a lot of conversations since then. We've made some adjustments since then. So I'm hopeful that this round will be successful.
I'm happy to wait until the RTM meeting, as long as, no matter what they say, we send something out in March.
Yeah, so we can either
Can't
uh,
stall.
yeah. So at our March meeting, we'll know what happened, and we can make a decision accordingly.
Bob, just a quick question on the RTM and how they schedule things. I mentioned this to Seth. They already had this quote, we all come from land use, as an application in front of them. Could what we've sent back to them be considered an amendment and a supplement to what had already been presented to them so that they can sort of fast track that and not have to put it on the agenda? In other words, could they take this up in other business on each subcommittee as it's already sort of been presented and make it move faster?
Well, based on Ed's schedule, it's moving pretty fast. Basically, we're hitting the next meeting of every subcommittee and then the next meeting of the RTM in February. I don't think there's any way to move it faster.
Get it right on the floor of the RTM as an
Oh,
amended
well,
document.
yeah, but I think one of our issues last time was that we had, a neutral report and a couple of negative reports from the subcommittees. I think we really want the opportunity to go back to the subcommittees with the hope that we can get to the RTM floor with positive referrals from each subcommittee, and that gives us the best chance to get the positive vote.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree with that for what it's worth. Going through the subcommittee is probably the best avenue here. Legally, in the sense that, so this went in front of the RTM, I think back in November, and the RTM has had a meeting since then. So usually what you're talking about, the concept here would be a motion to table. When you table it, you can basically say, we'll still keep this as basically an addendum to the last time it went out. When you do that, you're supposed to come back at the next meeting and bring it up then, and that did not happen. So I would say,
okay.
You'd have to go through
So
the
it's
subcommittees
stale
anyway.
at this point.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Any other questions for Bob before we kind of go back and start looking at the documents? All right, we left off on Article 13. Susan, you were comfortable with the document. Reese, you were comfortable with the document. Bob, you asked some questions. Do you have any further comment on the document?
No, I'm good with the document.
Okay. I'm gonna go through all the documents and then we'll just go for a vote for all of them, assuming we can get them to a place we're comfortable with all at the same time. So now I'm gonna go over to the cover letter, which starts with the top of the page with the red action required. These are, I think, fairly minor edits. It's a one-pager. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the edits presented here?
sorry, I have to just ask. That's the cover letter, not the sump pump compliance statement, correct?
Correct. The one that
I don't
starts
have
at-
it, and I only have notes with me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes, it's the cover letter, starts attention sewer user. And the edits are, or contact the sewer department at the email below. We've been working diligently over the last 6 years instead of 5 years. You got 90 days to return the compliance statement. I don't even know if there's many edits here. These are kind of more just highlights to make sure people are looking at the right things.
Yeah, I seem to remember it was 99.9% there to begin
Okay.
with, so I'm sure it's
Any
fine.
any comments on the cover letter at this point?
I have just one thing I'd like to add.
Sure.
I'd like to add to this before it goes out, a link to the website for the town in the sewer section where they can grab all of these documents.
Yeah.
Whether it be the compliance statement, the disconnect statement, if we approve that, and the article, the sump pump, the even this letter, if they need another copy of it or something, but I'd like to put it in one place and tell them where to go find it.
That's a great idea. I think that makes complete sense. I don't think any of us are going to have a problem with adding the website link to this letter.
I'll find a spot to put it in there.
All right. Now we can take a quick look at the sump pump compliance statement, which now it's, as we talked about last time, is in kind of two parts. There is the compliance statement. Do I have a sump pump or not? Is it connected to the sewer or not? What information am I providing to the town to approve and effectively certify same? And then there's a subsequent document if then that, if you have to require action to then remove or disconnect your sump pump, there would be a follow-up statement sent to you saying, okay, you've disconnected your sump pump. Here's the disconnection statement you need to fill out. So that's in two pieces. First piece, we'll look at the compliance statement. Any remaining comments at this point on the compliance statement before it goes forward with that? And really, at this point, we could change this in the future. It's really the ordinance that gets locked in place.
I just have
Go
a
ahead.
question for Ed, where it says, if you're unsure where your pump discharges, please obtain assistance from a qualified individual or provide us photos to review and provide assistance. Do you feel comfortable that that won't swamp us?
Great question.
It's a fair question, Bob. I can't let the fear of what people don't know and how much you're gonna have to handle stop this from moving forward. But the part that's important is that they respond to us and that we have on record that they're answering us or getting back to us. I think that's the important part that checks the box that says, okay, you're not going to get fined, but we're going to have to help you through this process. But yeah, it's going to be a workload. It's going to be a workload, and I'm trying to put together a plan that we have some individuals that can help us out with some of this stuff. So I have thought about it, but kind of like the backflow valves. We didn't know what we didn't know until we started getting the phone calls. And, I returned every single one of them. I had to say they're about the 50, 60 range. I think they're going to be more of these, but be able to spread the pain out a little bit amongst our staff.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily foresee 10%. So, 540 calls.
I was thinking maybe 10% of people that actually have sump pumps.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I've seen where people didn't know where storm drains go. So I think you're on the low end.
Okay.
I don't mean any bad thing about the people. It's not their forte. They can talk about derivatives all day, and I only know derivatives from my calculus. So it's all your point of reference.
No, I understand. It's one of these things we're gonna have to jump in and see how this is, Bob. And as we've been reassuring folks, this is to gather information to help us with our sewer system. And It's not going to be done in a week. It's not going to be done in a month. It's going to take us a while to get our arms around all these things. And, I'm willing to put the time in if you guys are too.
You're ready to rip off the Band-Aid, so to speak, and
Yeah, I mean,
grow your wings on the way down.
but this is why I have to agree with Reese. If you're going to get all these calls, we want them now. We don't want them, in July where we have to get the answer in by August. So that's why we need to get the letter out ASAP, in my opinion.
Bob, I don't fully agree with that. I understand that. I wanted to get it out January 1st. Didn't happen. But based on the fact that people don't know what they're looking for, they're going to be contacting us. And it's one of those things is working with someone, in my opinion, puts a hold on their property in my opinion. So this,
they've in effect already responded and reached out in a way. Yeah.
Yes, we not positive or negative, but there's a big question mark. And that
gets
to me
us on a list and it
is
gets
a
us
response.
contact. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you've got to give people that are reaching out to find out a little credit also. And I think that's going to go a long way with the RTM and the subcommittees.
That's the pitch from the beginning. This is not about being punitive. It's about the need to collect the information and have a much better understanding of the big picture.
Well, but I think it's also about having the sewer users educate themselves about the sewer system. I'm sorry, you need to be an educated user. It's one of the things that, as I've said before, distinguishes us from third world countries. So it's something that needs to be protected.
And hey, Bob, maybe something on our website that this link can take these folks to. Maybe there's maybe I can find something that describes what a sump pump is, where it is, pictures of it, or something that we can put on. I think you folks had talked about that at one time.
Yeah,
I think this is a good place to
YouTube
put it.
video or something.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because you are gonna have some confusion between sump pumps and people who have sewage ejectors in their basements.
Mm-hmm.
That,
You're right. Absolutely right.
right?
What's that,
And
Susan?
Bob, just so you know, I'm taking any volunteers that would like to help out with this process. Knowledgeable in sump pumps and sewage.
Qualified individuals, so to speak.
I'm willing to volunteer, but my wife limits my time. So, but yes, I'm willing to put my time where my mouth is.
What kind of customer service experience do you have, Bob?
Can we answer that off camera?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Not every good surgeon needs to have a bedside manner, Craig.
You're right. All right. I get blamed for the same thing sometimes. So any further questions or comments on the sump pump compliance statement?
Yes. I mentioned this to Ed. This prints out as many pages because there's extra pages in there. It's 3 pages.
Yeah, just work on the formatting to get rid of the couple extra pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 ream of paper per page.
Yeah, I guess when it goes to final print, just be careful.
So Craig, just give me clarification on this now. I sent you folks a compliance statement, I think, with a disconnect piece to it. Had 3 pages. You don't want to use that one. I'm getting the impression you just want the 2-pager.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
His
100%.
method, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the disconnect is all by itself on one sheet.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I love that.
We put that out there in the link. We'll send that to them if they respond or whatever it is that we need to do. But keeping them separate gives them, actually keeps it simple, right? I mean, we're not confusing them.
Are we?
Yeah, your printer printed that out on 2 pages, just so you know, when I look at it in my Word, perhaps when Susan looks at it in her Word, it's got a couple, like the margins didn't work, so it's 5 pages long, not 3 pages long. But you'll figure that out as you print it.
If you send it to a PDF, then you'll know for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so we'll leave the printer to you.
Printer, it's on 2 pages.
But basically, yeah, you're gonna have 2 sides. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yep.
It looks like I can fill it out, and it's not too long, and increased response rate. Any other questions on the sump pump compliance statement? Now we'll jump over to the disconnect statement. Any questions on the disconnect statement?
Yes, I do. At least as I read it, and I read it kind of quickly, so forgive me if I missed it, but I believe there is no mention of photos, and I believe there should be.
I think that's because initially we thought the photos would come in with the original document, and then there would be a separate disconnect statement.
Yeah, I hear Bob though, if we're basically if we got a picture showing it connected, I suppose we would want the picture showing it disconnected, right?
That would be my reasoning,
Okay.
especially since we're asking for a permanent disconnection.
Okay.
All
I mean,
right, so
How about in the middle there where it says please provide details? I could change that to whatever you'd like it to say. Please provide appropriate photos of sump pump disconnect.
yeah, please provide detail as needed, including photos verifying the disconnect.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me.
We're going to add the words including photos verifying the disconnect to the end of that little colon statement. Not getting me on the pun there, Reese.
No, I'm slow. Sorry.
You're very punny.
All right, any further questions on the sump pump disconnect statement?
No.
And the new thing we haven't seen or discussed, well, we've discussed before, but haven't seen it in writing before, was the draft, we'll call it draft, of the financial assistance policy related to sump pump removals that Ed put together for our inspection, which was also included. This would be a sewer commission policy, so it's something that we could set and edit and reset at our discretion. It's not an ordinance, not voted on by anyone else. It is under our umbrella. But we do want to be able to say, yes, Ed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but being done with the documents that need to go to the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, we want to vote on those separately. Yeah.
Finish that vote first.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion to approve the current drafts of the sump pump removal ordinance, the cover letter that will go with the compliance statement, and the disconnection statement.
I'll move that. I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Susan seconds. All those in favor, I'll do a roll call. Reese?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Bob?
No.
Craig is a yes. Peter, unfortunately, I don't think we have your audio yet. But with that, we'll call it a 3-1 vote. So those documents are approved to proceed. And we are all here to support Ed's efforts to move this through the RTM. So now back to the financial assistance policy. We will.
Minor point, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
4 to 1.
3 to 1 with no vote from Peter because we don't have his audio.
Yeah, you said 3 to 1.
I said 3 to 1.
Supposed to be 3 to 1. Okay.
It was Craig, Susan, and Reese in favor. Bob opposed.
I'm sorry. I thought Bob was in favor. My apologies.
Yep. Okay, so we will let any folks who are interested at the RTM know that we have discussed the concern about folks that may have a financial hardship and that we are willing to provide some assistance to people that have a financial hardship. We will not be the determiners of the financial hardship. They'll either be folks that are on the tax abatement list with the assessor's office, or they will be vetted by the Department of Human Services. So that will not be our bailiwick, but once they have been determined to have a financial hardship, they may petition the Sewer Commission for financial assistance, and that financial assistance would be granted only after we have the proof and the bills and the invoices that were paid and that the disconnection was made. One. Two, that there would be skin in the game by both parties so that we would only cover up to 75% of those costs. And at least until we know more on a case-by-case basis, they would be capped at $5,000. That's the proposal that Ed has put in. I think it's a great place to start. But before he goes and advertises that this is a policy in draft form that we're considering, just want to make sure he has the consensus from the commissioners that they're generally in favor of this or something like this.
Is this a gift? Or is it going to be put on the tax records to be paid back when they sell the house?
So I think the way it's drafted is that we would be writing a check to reimburse those with financial need for actual costs for removing a sump pump.
And is that a gift, or are you going to put that amount that you're reimbursing them on the tax records?
Well, I would argue against the word gift, right? Because the whole reason to get all these sump pumps off the system, right, is it's a gift if what you're asking, right? This policy doesn't say we're now going to put a lien on the property. That's what the policy is.
You're not advocating putting a lien on the property.
So I'm just telling you what's written on the paper right now.
It's not on that, so it doesn't have that as a
yes,
as a bullet point, and this will be not needing to be reimbursed, or this will be a lien on your property.
It's whatever we want it to be, but right now it doesn't say anything about a lien. So it would be a check written to the property owner that has financial need that was burdened by these expenses. Okay. And we have the benefit of having disconnected a sump pump and reduced the burden on the sewer system for all users.
Craig, as written, this 75%, would that then work out to be $3,750 would be our maximum contribution, and $5,000?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was thinking the same thing. Or is 5 our 70%, or is $3,750 our 75%? I read it both ways. I don't know. We spent a lot of money on getting clean water out of the system. So I'm not opposed to something like this. I'm also not opposed to it because the abatement list is very small, right? And property owners with a financial need, right? That list is likely to be small. And then it's what percentage of those property owners has a sump pump, and then what percentage of those property owners with a sump pump has a sump pump that needs to be disconnected. And so I can't imagine. I'm guessing, it's in the 10 to 20 range at the end of the day, right?
Would it be worth entertaining what it would cost? Let's say that the least expensive option would be to drill through the foundation and put a yard drain and discharge it out into your yard, and you have positive pitch and you have somewhere for the water to go. Would that be $2,000, $1,500, somewhere in that? Maybe it's in that range. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, it all depends on how you do it and who does it and how you get it done. Yeah. Is it your brother-in-law, or you hire in retail contractors, and
and whether you need engineering or anything behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just we don't know enough.
I'd be more comfortable if we were capped at $2,500, up to $2,500, rather than the $3,750. For the easy fix, that's going to be meaningful. And that could be 100%.
Yeah, but
for the complicated fix, it could be $15,000, and the $3,750 doesn't have any meaning.
That's true.
So that's where I would be, and I understand the ethics of it, and where properties may be, some may not be easily fixable. And then we're into a whole other game. Then it really is come and talk to us. And we may need a policy beyond the policy that's not even written. And the public involvement might be more, you know, with street drainage, et cetera, involved at that point.
So I guess let's start big picture. One, do we have consensus that for those with a financial hardship, as vetted by others, as vetted and verified by others, are we willing to provide some financial assistance? I'm just putting some out there for now to understand the consensus of the group in order to get these sump pumps disconnected.
You need to add a word, so it would be some gratis assistance.
Yes,
Where
some money.
there's nothing coming back.
Some money.
Sorry.
We are willing to pay some money, reimburse the costs to get these sump pumps. Do we have, you know, how do people generally feel about just that concept?
I'm against it. The tax liens, I have it from Kathy Larkins. They have a continuing tax lien. If your taxes are abated, they're not forgiven. There's a lien on your property.
Okay. Reese?
I'd stick with what I proposed at 2,500, but I'm more inclined to agree with Susan that actually putting it on the property wouldn't be unfair. And the number may be higher than that. And that would give us more flexibility if the number's higher. I mean,
what if it was kind of a hybrid thing, right? Where we go,
I don't mind that.
Would we go with, okay, we're gonna do a little bit of exposure just to make it easy and quick and get it done, and we'll go up to $2,500 worth of reimbursement. Anything more than that would need to be recovered and done through a lien on the property.
I would be comfortable with that, Craig, because I think the public benefit of removing the sump pump at $2,500 is not unreasonable for us to bear, and the numbers are very small of people that would need our help, who are needed of assistance.
Susan, does that hybrid version sound compelling to you at all?
I am not happy about it. Do I have to decide tonight?
I guess we just want to get to a point where we are willing to do something, and we are going to have a policy that allows for assisting those with financial need. I think that's.
I'm worried that you think it's small number, but when it gets started, it'll get bigger because this is going to be expensive and people will want that assistance. And so I just think it should go back on the tax records, just like a tax lien. It should be on the property and repaid. If it's not going to be that much money, then so it'll be.
Shouldn't be that much money either way. Yeah. Whether we do it or they're going to have to bear it later.
I mean, Craig, if you're looking for equity and fairness, well, that's how they do it. We have a process that's already doing that.
Yeah.
We're just asking for something else, you know, in that there is a public benefit. So there is an equity piece there that they have that even as an option.
Yeah. Bob, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'd be willing to use any and all monies collected as the fine for non-compliance for the gratis part. And that would be the end of my gratis part. After that, it would be a lien.
But we don't know how much money we've collected.
I know that, but we also don't know how many people are going to be. So it's you know, it's all theoretical here.
So
theoretically,
yeah,
having to have it on the books.
Yes.
So we are willing. So Ed, go ahead.
So I was able, I don't know if you folks had mentioned it or saw the numbers, was able to pull the tax relief list from the tax assessors. Gave us a list. We scrubbed that list for who had sewers.
Oh, good for you.
And we are now at 44, based on the tax relief abatement list. There's 44 residents in the town of Darien that get that relief. Now, the additional relief. I'm sorry?
Nothing. Sorry, I'm humble.
So if you're not on that list, but still would like to apply for some type of relief, and I think I've mentioned this before, I mentioned to someone anyway, at least maybe Craig. There's the Human Service Department that Allie Ramstack runs. I went and spoke to her too about relief for those folks that come in there. If there's others, she is willing to run it those people through her model to determine if financial need is necessary. Now, I'm assuming if you're on the tax abatement list, you're getting some type of assistance from her also at the same time. It wouldn't make sense vice versa. If you're a property owner. So I'm with Craig. I think the number is gonna be around 40 or 50 of properties. How many have sump pumps? I mean, we could venture a guess. I have addresses. I can go through and look at every single one of them and put a, where's their house type of thing on it and see if I can get a better age. Are you near the water? Are you near a river? Are you low-lying area and so on?
But of people that have a sump pump and that sump pump is connected, again, it's going to be
Yeah.
some fraction.
Sure.
So it's not a lot. We're not talking about a lot of money. We're not talking about a lot of people. But big picture,
Sure.
we are willing on a case-by-case basis to provide some financial assistance. Is the one umbrella. And then the second level of that is one with a preference for it being a lien on the property for which the sewer commission would be reimbursed once either when they decided to pay or when they sold the property. And then another layer would be, and then the sewer commission could also, at its discretion, use the fines, the monies collected through the compliance statement, people not filling out the compliance statement, to subsidize sump pump removals. But we don't have necessarily a dollar figure on that because we don't know how much money we're collecting on that yet.
However, we're not going to be even enforcing the fines for quite a while. First, we got to get the letters out.
I appreciate that. We've covered that part, and we've approved all that stuff to move forward so that hopefully we can do that in March. But this is one of the...
Philosophically, I don't believe we should be excusing these. They don't excuse your taxes. We should not be excusing this money.
Okay. Do I have at least 3 votes for using the fine money in a measured way, like the $2,500, 75% of a cost kind of thing?
Well, Craig, that would actually fit with the spirit of any assessments that we assessed is going to improving and using the improvements to the sewer. So it would flow through that, and therefore I would support that.
Yeah, we're not just making a quote profit on the fines, that we're putting that fines back into the purpose of them.
Yep. As a fee almost.
First come, first served. So the first person who comes in is going to get the balance in the fund, because I don't think money.
What we're saying is it's at our discretion, provided those monies are available up to a capped amount.
2,500.
Say the monies aren't available, then what are you going to do?
Then we go back to the lien.
Susan, we could cap it at 25.
So it's going to be first come, first serve. Whoever comes in first will get the money, because you're going to run out. You're going to run out of this money. And so then the first people who come in,
I'm not sure about that.
You think that we're going to be able to find a lot of people $250? If it's $5,000 for the cap, 44 people, that's 220.
Well, Reese has said 2,500 was his cap, so that's probably what I have. So that's 10 fines per sump pump removal, and our number of sump pump removals is between 10 and 20, so our fines would be between 100 and 200, and I think that's probably a pretty reasonable or pretty likely result.
We'd have to get $250 fines to cover 44 people.
Not all 44 of those people have a sump pump that needs to be disconnected. It's going to be a fraction of that.
When we don't have the money and we're reverting back to putting it on the tax liens, I think the third person in line, or the fifth person, whatever, the fifth is going to be saying, hey, wait a minute, how come you gave them money?
How come some people get parking?
That's because we won't go into that on camera.
I hear you, Susan.
Mary's.
We're getting to the edges of.
I don't think there is a perfect system here.
I just think it would be fair overall, in case we run out of fine money, to simply put it on the land records. That's me.
How about we just use the word may up to 2,500?
Yeah. Well, I think for
Right.
now we can use May, right? We could also prioritize the lien process, right? And then if we have fine money, we can then allocate to anyone that has a lien against them for this activity.
We should know October 1st how many fines are going to be out there.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think we're going to have people handing in their paperwork, their finished paperwork before October 1st.
So anyway,
I think by then we will have a better idea of where we stand.
This is in draft form. We're willing to consider on a case-by-case basis. We're willing to provide some financial assistance. It may be in the form of a lien.
Okay.
It may be in the form of a measured reimbursement using fine money. And the cap on our straight reimbursement would be $2,500, up to $2,500 for 75% of the costs, the 2,500 being the 75%. And it remains to be and our endeavor will be to apply this as equitably as possible. But we'll need some flexibility to understand the numbers as we get the data back. Is that a fair summary?
That's a fair summary, and I think that is fair.
Susan, I know how you feel, but you comfortable with the 2 Mays for now? Bob, you comfortable with that language?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll call that consensus that we have a draft financial assistance policy that lays out our intent.
And we codify that and vote on it next meeting, so it's a policy.
Yeah,
You
next
want
meeting or two,
actually-
because we don't have to do it right away, but yeah.
Cool. Sounds good.
Ed, are you comfortable?
Yeah, absolutely not.
back is killing.
His back is killing you.
Are you comfortable with the language?
I'm gonna say what I said. I think when we started talking sump pumps 3.5 years ago. We don't need a decision on the 11th hour right now.
Yeah.
We don't need it. Just I want you folks to think about all we talked about today. I'll try to get that all in the policy. But it's you all made very fair and understanding statements about being financially responsible. People, property owners, you as a group and a commission and so on. So again, take some time to think. I put this together very quickly because when I spoke to the first selectman, it was one of the items he thought the RTM and his board of selectmen may ask about, probably will ask about, and we should have a response that is in unison of 5 people on a commission agreeing that we are, but we're trying to work out the details. And I think that is a fair exchange and a fair comment to make. So
yeah, I think now we can kind of describe the scope and describe our thinking.
yeah.
And be able to answer that question when we get it more clearly, if not, completely at this point.
I am going to add to this that if we are going to do any type of reimbursement, that we should require some type of minimum estimates to be received. I don't want to pay Reese's brother. I'm Reese. I don't want to pay Reese's brother to top dollar because he's a friend. I think we should be responsible enough to require these folks to get a couple estimates that we can gauge that they're being fiscally responsible with the sewer commission's money also.
That makes sense.
All right, so we've conducted the business we need to conduct today. We still have Bob on the phone, Bob Burney. If there's any parting questions for him while we have his attention.
Just want to say thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to help.
I do always appreciate your thoughtful consideration of these things, and it's
Of course.
Okay.
we since it's a special meeting, we cannot add new business.
Oh,
But unless there's anything else on the business at hand, I'll call for an adjournment.
Hold on, Craig, one last thing. I'm gonna, once, now that they're approved, I'd like to get these items out to the RTM chairmans of the committees that were responsible last time. I don't know if that's premature, maybe Bob.
Yeah,
run
no,
that-
I think the more time they have with the final documents, the better.
Okay,
I'd want them to make sure they
Absolutely.
reviewed it before we walk in those rooms and talk about it with them.
okay, and then the board.
And you even might encourage the chairs of those various subcommittees to, if anybody has questions, get them back to us ahead of time so we're prepared.
Now, the Board of Selectmen meeting is on the 26th. It's a Monday night. I will not be in town. I will be watching. But that's I don't want, that's why I'm asking, is it premature to send it out before the Board of Selectmen vote on them?
Oh, I see. You want to wait till Monday, I guess is the question.
Well, at least Tuesday.
Yeah, the first subcommittee is February 9th, so I think we can, and that's rules. So I think we can wait until after the Board of Selectmen is comfortable with everything.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that.
Did everyone see the little note from Rolf Oben that popped in?
Well, we're not allowing public comment, so
Okay, I just you saw.
I will take that. Yeah, well, anyway.
Hmm. All right, I'm good.
Craig, would you like a motion now that Peter's not here?
Someone's going to have to make it, or we're all just going to
I
stand
make a
staring at each
motion
other.
that we in Peter's honor, that we adjourn.
I think we
Okay.
should wait till the sun sets.
All right, Reese moves, Susan seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting is now adjourned, and the recording will stop whenever I can figure out how to stop the recording.
Mhm.
Here we go.